What is up, everyone? Welcome back to Base Damage. Today, we're going to be taking a look at another SAO deck based off of mostly Alicization Volume 2, but I think some of these are also from Volume 1. I could be incorrect on that. But I think it's mostly Volume 2 for all of these cards. Anyway, it looks like a low count for the cards, but we have an army card in here. This is based off the Dark Territory trait from Volume 2, and it's an 8 standby deck. So I was wanting like SAO to have standby because of Administrator. There was some shenanigans I wanted to do. That's something else I'm working on the side, but this is something else that I just thought was hilarious. And honestly, this deck is cheap enough. We'll get to that in a second. That it's just fun to pick up these cards and just go to town. Like I said, it is 8 standby. I do not like the level 1 climax combo, but the rest of it in the deck is kind of fun. We'll get to this. Also, I'm actually able to make this on deck log because this army card before on deck log, before they fixed it, you couldn't put more than 4 copies of. So I had to do with the Fire Horse deck from ReZero. I had to make it on the simulator. But no, I'm able to make this now on here, so really happy about that. Thank you, Bushi. All right, let's get right into the deck profile. Like I said, there's not that many cards, but you can run playsets of everything, and it doesn't fucking matter. First off, we got 4 copies of Dark God Vecta. It's a 3/2 10k. Heals on play, already doing better than a lot of other decks. And when this card's battle opponent becomes reversed, look at up to 2 cards from the top of your deck, put them on top of your deck in any order. You can like standby this out and use this at, like earlier on to kind of do some shenanigans for like trying to hit the standby triggers a bit more. But the fact that you have a healer in here that's like on theme with the Dark Territory stuff was really nice. The one of the fun climax combos of this deck I wanted to make off of this was this 3/2 10k Incarnation of Nihilism Gabriel. If this card is in your center stage, all of your Dark Territory characters gain 1500 power. Really nice. It also counts itself when it's in center stage, so it's an 11/5 basically, constantly. When this card attacks, if Blade of Nihilism is in your climax area, choose any number of Dark Territory characters in your hand. Put them into your waiting room. Deal X damage to your opponent. Choose up to 1 card in your opponent's waiting room and put it on the top of their deck. X is equal to the number of characters put into your waiting room by this effect. You get to basically choose how much burn you do, which can be very nice if you're able to push your opponent to higher numbers quicker. You can use this to hit for precise damage, which is very nice. The entire deck is Dark Territory, so you don't really care in terms of you're going to hit what you need to. Then we have 3 copies of this Chance Meeting Subtilizer. It's a 2/2 There is another level 2, just stating because it exists, that came in the Anniversary set that is Dark Territory trait, but its effects do not focus on Anniversary, so that could be put in here over this particular level 2, but I like this level 2 more. That other one was based off of I think it got like really big. It could get up to like 11k with its buff, and it had a character encore. But this one in particular is if you have 2 or more other Fluct-like characters, this gets 3k power. So it becomes a 10k just constantly. And when this card is frontal attacked, you can pay 1 and discard a Fluct-like character, which I believe everything in here is Fluct-like and Dark Territory, so it works. I'm just going to do a quick glance. Yeah, everything is Fluct-like. And if you do, this card cannot become reversed until end of turn. So you can deny your opponent some on reverse, just advantage if they tried to pump up to get over him. If they're trying to go for a on reverse combo, you can deny them that, which is pretty cool. Then that's it for the level 2s. There are no backups in this deck, which is really sad, but doesn't matter. You're not trying to you're just trying to run them over. Then 3 copies of Black Mage's Guild Leader DIL? I don't know how D. We're just gonna say D. So 1/175. All of your characters get the ability it can't side attack, and it has an encore, which is a really awkward encore, but it's whatever. It's your typical like standby target for Dark Territory. You have to sacrifice 2 characters from your stage, which doesn't particularly matter because you do have some stuff to be able to get them back, like in a Brainstormer and everything. So it's kind of whatever, but it's also nice to have. Granted, if your other characters get reversed, you can just sack them anyway, so it doesn't matter. Then we have 4 copies of Poe. Preacher of Hatred is what that stands for based off of the climax. So 1/04k. When Preaching of Hatred is placed on your climax area, if this card is in your center stage and you have another Dark Territory character, choose one of your opponent's level 1 or higher characters. If you do, your opponent chooses one level X or lower character in their waiting room and exchanges them. X is equal to the level of the character you chose minus 1. Basically, let's say you choose a level 2 character, they have to choose a they have to choose minus 1 from that. So they sack that level 2 character, and they have to, if they don't have a target, sucks to be them, but it gets rid of them, and then you can, or no, it exchanges them. So if they don't have a target, you can exchange them. I'm sorry. Then X, basically they would be able to summon a level 1 or lower. This does make it so you can get rid of some really big characters. If your opponent doesn't have like the level directly under it, like say if you target a level 3, your opponent can summon a level 2 or lower, but if they don't have a level 2, they have to summon a level 1 or lower. So you can get rid of some key stuff, but once again, if your opponent has like hexproof stuff, it doesn't matter, because you do have to choose a character. So, and when this card attacks, this gets X power until end of turn. X is equal to the number of characters your opponent has times 500. So if they have a full field, it becomes a 1-0, doing math, 25, so 65. I don't know why I couldn't do math just then. What the fuck? But yeah, so you can try to snipe some stuff off the field, but it's whatever. Then we have Swarm of Red Copper Dark Knights. This is a 103k. You can put any number of cards with the same card name as this into your deck. This card gets 2k power for each other Swarm of Red Copper Dark Knights in your center stage. What this essentially lets you do, because this also has a crit trigger, which is really nice, you could just tri-field this, and they're sitting at 107k across the board, which is huge. And there is some other fun buffing effects that you can do in here to let them get over some other big cards. We'll get to that in a second, but I bumped it up from my typical like 8 copies to 10 copies. It kind of felt a little bit better test playing this. This deck is not consistent, but it's very cheap, and we'll get to that in a second. 00500 Commander of the Dark Knights, Shasta. When this is placed on stage from hand, your opponent declares 0, 1, 2, or 3. Reveal the top card of your deck. If that card is the level that your opponent declared, put it on any position of your stage, which is kind of whatever. It's not that good of an effect, but it's kind of, if your opponent's like, I'm going to be ballsy and call 3, you'll never reveal a 3, and then you reveal a 3 and just watch them laugh. Typically, all they have to do is call 0, and it doesn't hurt them in any shape, form, or fashion. When this is placed on stage from your hand, look at the top card of your deck, put it on top of your deck or into your waiting room. Just a little bit of hand filtering and whatnot, because you can just like play it. If you see that it is a particular standby target that you want to summon, you can just go ahead and pitch it to the waiting room. Nice. Then 4 copies of Chief of the Orcs, Lilpilin. I hope I'm pronouncing that correct. So 002k, at the beginning of your opponent's draw phase, reveal the top card of your deck. If that card is level 1 or higher, you may put this card into your stock. A little bit extra stock production, kind of nice. But you do need a little bit of stock for this particular next card. Agitator of the Opposition, Visago. It's a 0015. At the beginning of your attack phase, choose one of your Dark Territory characters. That character gets X power until end of turn. X is equal to the number of characters with the same card name as that times 500. So you basically want to be able to have this on field when you're able to drop multiples of this, because then you can because 3 of these will make all 3 of them be a 107k apiece, and you can use his effect to give one of them an extra 1500 power, which is really nice. It's equal to the same, all the same on the field. They won't get the buff, but you can play another copy of this back row, and that way Visago's effect will give one of them plus 2k, but they won't gain an extra 2k from their own effect because it only counts center stage. But that's whatever. And it has a brainstorm of pay 1, tap 2 characters, mill 4 for each climax revealed amongst those cards. You get to salvage back up to 2 of the level 1 Dark Knights in your waiting room, add them to your hand. So just a little bit extra consistency in terms of getting those on. 3 copies of that. You could bump that up to 4, to be completely honest, probably drop this down to like 3. It seemed, there were definitely times where I wanted this more in my hand, but 3 still feels like a good number. And then lastly, we have this 001k affiliated with the Dark Knights, Lipia. When your climax is placed on your climax area, you may pay the cost, which is bouncing this card back to hand. If you do, choose one of your characters and it gets +1 sold for the turn. This is typically like a card you want anyway, to be able to bounce it back to get some advantage when you play your standby, and then you have an open slot. This also has an act. Pay 1, tap 2 of your characters, put the top 2 cards of your deck into your waiting room. Choose 1 level X or lower Dark Territory character in waiting room, return it to your hand. X is equal to the total level of those cards. So you can basically have both of these in the back row. Use either one of their effects, whether you want to brainstorm, if you feel you need to mill more, or if there's a specific Dark Territory you want to get off of this effect instead of the Copper Red Knights, you can just do this effect. And then you can play either of the standbys, bounce this back to hand, and you have an open space in your back row to be able to summon the standby target to there. Because there's none of the standby combos in here or anything, like restand the character or anything. So you're typically going to be doing old school standby shenanigans and either summoning over characters that have already attacked or just summoning in the back row, and that's whatever. And obviously, so 4 copies of Blade of Nihilism. This art looks fucking fantastic. And 4 copies of Preaching of Hatred. Just, rally the troops. Yeah, and that's it for the deck. This deck, I was able to get this and a whole bunch of other copies of cards for very, very cheap. I just basically grabbed anything and everything that said Dark Territory. I'm going to show on screen right now. It was about 76 cards worth. Just to, obviously I got extra copies of the Relentless Rats card, quote unquote, the little Dark Knight thing. There's other Dark Territory cards that I didn't include in here just because I didn't really care for them. Just extra play sets and cards of just everything, basically. 76 cards worth. Less than $16. I think it came about to $17-ish after tax. So you can just pick this up and tweak it how you want, and maybe if they ever release more Dark Territory cards, we can build up from there. This does have healing, unlike some crazy, theme decks like this. But there's no backups. You're typically just trying to push for damage, run stuff over, and really just trying to summon the bigger characters and just keep punching your opponent in the face. So you're not really trying to use backups or anything, because you could put them in here. To be completely fair, honestly, if you wanted to, you could remove a couple copies of Poe and put in some really good backups or something, but that's up to you. To each their own, but that is going to be it for the deck. So thank you very much for watching. Please like and subscribe if you want. If not, hey, thanks for stopping to check it out. Extra 8 standby decks are always fun to check out, and we will see y'all on the flip side. Peace out for now.